So this happened during his first on-camera interview since leaving office. Donald Trump shared his thoughts with Sean Hannity on the future of the Republican Party.
Should this now be the Republican Party agenda? Should anybody that wants to run for the House or the Senate, should they take this Make America Great agenda and fight for those things that you fought for the 4 years you were president?
If they want to win, yes. We've expanded the Republican Party. You've seen, I mean, the Texas border, we have the biggest Hispanic vote since, as the governor said to me, he called me up, great governor. He said, since Reconstruction. I said, you're talking about Civil War, right? He said, since Civil War. If you want to win and win big, you have to do that.
So that Reconstruction. With us tonight to talk about all things political, James Carville, veteran Democratic strategist, who rode to national fame with the Clinton presidential campaign and is these days co-host of the Politics War Room podcast, and Tim Miller, a contributor to The Bulwark and the former communications director for Jeb Bush. Gentlemen, I'm so glad to have you both here tonight. James, before we get into the politics of Mr. Trump, I have to begin with a more urgent matter, the news tonight. What have we lost in our politics with the loss of Walter Mondale?
Well, we've lost the one thing that we've come to lack in a lot of American politics is decency. Probably one of the most decent people. But as my cohort Al Hunt pointed out today, he was the first consequential vice president. Until he became vice president, the vice president had no consequence during the term in office. Office was in the West Wing. He was in every meeting. He literally changed the office of vice president. So not only are his personal attributes as something to be remembered and respected, his political attributes and policy accomplishments are pretty good. When you change an entire office, you've made a big impact on American politics. So my understanding is President Clinton talked to him a couple of days ago, and, you know, he was just a great man. He had a long, 93 years old, a long and very consequential life. And a lot of friends in Minnesota, and they're highly distraught about this. He's a well-loved, well-respected man.
Indeed. He was the first vice president to live in the Naval Observatory as a separate government home. And as you point out, first vice president to really be treated as part of a partnership by the president in the West Wing, a tradition that for the most part has been handed down, is certainly in effect today between Biden and Harris, as it was between Obama and Biden. Hey, Tim, about that comment from Donald Trump, who wants you to know that Reconstruction followed the Civil War. Is he right that the ticket to winning a race as a Republican is to embrace the MAGA banner?
Well, I'm not sure about former president as a history teacher, Brian, but I think that I'm going to say something I don't usually say, which is that I kind of agree with his political analysis as far as where the Republican Party is right now. I think the party had an opportunity after the January 6th insurrection to say, we have had enough of this. We are going to pivot during the Biden era and try to reach back out to women, reach back out to suburban voters, reach back out to those we lost over the last 5 years, the people that gave Joe Biden a 7 million popular vote victory. But the party decided they didn't want to do that. They decided they wanted to stick with the coup. They decided they wanted to be an insurrectionist party. They wanted to double down on the crazy. And so as a result, in order to win elections, they're going to need to turn out the MAGA base. You know, the suburban voters aren't coming back. And so I think that his analysis is correct. I don't think it's good for our politics. I don't think it's good for the party. But that's the bet that the Republican Party has made right now. And that's what you're going to see in 2022. We're already seeing it in Virginia and in Ohio and in the other places where the midterm races are already getting underway.
Hey, James, I'm going to read you something from the AP tonight. It's about two friends of yours, Mr. Gates and Congresswoman Green. Gates and Green have attracted more public attention lately than most junior members of Congress. Much of it hasn't been positive. Party leaders must decide what, if anything, to do about them and what impact any action would have on their supporters, right along in the same line as Tim's comment, who come from the GOP's staunchly conservative base. So, James, I'm guessing you're fine with giving those two all the attention they demand. It's not like their leader in the House voted against insurrection What's your take on this story and those two members of the House specifically?
There's one part of the story that just irritates me to no end, and that is, well, James, okay, we got Marjorie Taylor Greene, but you got AOC. Stop. AOC is a talented, smart person who I think has some impractical, borderline naive ideas, like giving everybody health insurance. All right, she's a very talented person. Marjorie Taylor Greene is like literally out of her mind. And so, you know, that the kind of false equivalency that we sort of lapse into. And by the way, she raised something like $3.7 million in a quarter. It pays. It's profitable to be crazy in today's Republican Party. And Matt Gaetz, he looks like a character or something. That's the weirdest looking guy I've ever seen in my life, and the weirdest acting guy. But they got some real, you know, we got people that I think are politically not practical all the time, but are, you know, pretty nice people who aspire something for the country. I don't know where these people are coming from. I really don't. And they got to deal with
James
her.
And Tim
She's raising money hand over foot.
That she is. That she is. And I'm not sure she can be primaried with that much in her checking account.
Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.